The champagne bubbles caught the candlelight like tiny diamonds as Donna Martinez lifted her glass, her emerald engagement ring catching the warm glow of Romano's upscale Italian restaurant in downtown Chicago. At 28, she had everything she dreamed of since college: a successful marketing career at Peterson Associates, a penthouse apartment overlooking Lake Michigan, and, most importantly, Marcus Sullivan, the charming investment banker who'd swept her off her feet 3 years ago. "To us, babe," Marcus said, his perfectly styled blonde hair gleaming under the restaurant's ambient lighting. His blue eyes sparkled with what Donna interpreted as love, though something felt different tonight. Maybe it was the way he kept checking his phone, or how his smile seemed forced around the edges. "To 3 amazing years," Donna replied, clinking her glass against his. She wore the navy blue dress he'd bought her for their first anniversary, the one that hugged her petite frame perfectly and made her feel like she could conquer the world. Tonight was supposed to be special. Marcus had insisted on Romano's, the same place where he'd proposed 18 months ago. Donna had spent the entire day preparing. She'd left work early, gotten her long dark hair styled at the salon, and even splurged on new heels. At 28, she felt like she was finally living the life she'd mapped out in her college planner. Successful career? Check. Amazing fiancé? Check. Wedding planned for next summer? Check. Everything was falling into place exactly as she'd envisioned. "You look incredible tonight," Marcus said, but his voice lacked its usual warmth. He fidgeted with his cufflinks, a nervous habit Donna had noticed increasing over the past few weeks. "Thank you. You picked out the dress, remember?" She laughed, trying to ease the tension she couldn't quite identify. "You have excellent taste." Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Marcus had always been particular about appearances. It's what had drawn her to him initially: his confidence, his success, the way he commanded every room he entered. At 32, he was already a senior associate at Goldman Sachs Chicago, drove a BMW, and had introduced her to a world of fine dining and luxury she'd never experienced growing up in her modest suburban home in Naperville. The waiter approached with their usual order. Marcus always ordered for both of them, claiming he knew the menu better. Osso buco for him, seafood risotto for her, and a bottle of their special occasion wine, a 2018 Barolo that cost more than Donna's monthly student loan payment. "Actually," Marcus said, his voice suddenly formal, "we'll need a few more minutes." Donna's eyebrows furrowed. Marcus never deviated from routine, especially not at Romano's. "Is everything okay? You seem off tonight." "Everything's fine," he said too quickly, then immediately contradicted himself. "Actually, no, we need to talk." The restaurant buzzed with the quiet conversations of other couples, the gentle clinking of silverware against fine china, and the soft jazz music that usually made Donna feel sophisticated and adult. Tonight, it all felt overwhelming, like the soundtrack to a movie she didn't want to be starring in. "Talk about what?" Donna set down her champagne glass, her marketing instincts kicking in, the same ones that had helped her land the Peterson Associates account that had made her the youngest senior marketing coordinator in the firm's history. Something was wrong. Marcus's body language, his tone, the way he couldn't maintain eye contact, it all screamed bad news. Marcus straightened his tie, another nervous gesture. "Donna, you're an amazing woman. You're smart, successful, beautiful. You're starting a sentence with my good qualities. That's never good. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. About us, about our future, about what I really want." Donna felt the blood drain from her face. Around them, other couples continued their romantic dinners, oblivious to the fact that her world was about to implode. She thought about the wedding dress hanging in her closet, the deposit they'd put down on the Chicago History Museum for the reception, the save-the-date cards she'd spent hours designing. "Marcus, you're scaring me. What are you trying to say?" He took a deep breath, the kind people take before diving into cold water. "I'm not happy, Donna. I haven't been happy for months." The words hit her like a physical blow. "What do you mean you haven't been happy? You never said anything. We talk about everything." "Do we?" Marcus leaned back in his chair, suddenly looking older than his 32 years. "When was the last time we had a real conversation about something other than work or wedding planning?" Donna opened her mouth, then closed it. When was the last time? They'd been so busy lately, her with the Miller Industries campaign, him with some big merger deal. Their conversations had become logistics: who would pick up the dry cleaning, what time they needed to leave for dinner with his colleagues, whether they should book the honeymoon suite with the ocean view or the city view. "That's what happens when you're building a life together," she said, hating how defensive she sounded. "We're both busy, but we make it work. But are we happy? Really happy?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Donna wanted to answer immediately, to say of course they were happy, but the words wouldn't come. Was she happy? She was successful. She was achieving her goals. She was living the life she had planned. But happiness? When was the last time she had laughed until her stomach hurt? When was the last time she had felt genuinely excited about something other than a work achievement? "I thought we were," she said finally, her voice smaller than she intended. Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. His was cold, and she noticed he wasn't wearing his engagement ring. "Donna, there's something else." The restaurant suddenly felt too warm, too crowded, too bright. Donna pulled her hand away. "Something else?" I've been spending time with someone." The words were a punch to the gut. "Spending time with someone? What does that mean, Marcus?" "I mean, I've been seeing someone, romantically." Donna felt like the floor had dropped out from under her chair. "You're cheating on me?" "It wasn't supposed to happen," Marcus said quickly. It just developed over time." "Who is it?" The question came out as a whisper. Marcus hesitated, and in that hesitation, Donna knew it was going to be worse than she had imagined. "It's Jessica." Jessica Chen? Donna's best friend since college, the maid of honor for their wedding, the woman who'd helped Donna pick out her wedding dress, who'd thrown her engagement party, who'd been texting her that very afternoon about bachelorette party plans. "Jessica?" Donna's voice cracked. "My Jessica?" "She didn't want to hurt you either," Marcus said, as if that made it better. "We both fought it for months." "Months? This has been going on for months?" "Donna, please sit down. Let me explain." "Explain what? That my fiancé and my best friend have been lying to my face for months? That everything I thought I knew about my life is a lie?" The other diners were definitely staring now, but Donna didn't care. Her entire world had just shattered in the span of 5 minutes, and Marcus was worried about making a scene? "I know you're hurt," Marcus said, his voice taking on the patronizing tone he used when explaining basic financial concepts to her. "But we're all adults here. These things happen." "These things happen?" Donna repeated, incredulous. "Our engagement is not these things, Marcus. Our 3-year relationship is not just these things." "I'm trying to be honest with you," Marcus said. "I could have just disappeared, but I respect you too much for that." "You respect me?" Donna laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You're leaving me for my best friend at our anniversary dinner, and you think that's respectful?" Marcus had the decency to look uncomfortable. "The timing isn't ideal, but—" "The timing isn't ideal?" Donna sat back down, not because she wanted to, but because her legs suddenly felt unsteady. "When would have been ideal, Marcus? At the altar? After we had kids?" "Donna, you're being dramatic." The word dramatic was like gasoline on a fire. Donna had been called dramatic her entire life, by her mother when she cried over failed tests, by college professors when she advocated for herself, by colleagues when she pushed for the recognition she deserved. She wasn't being dramatic. She was being human. "I'm being dramatic?" she said, her voice dangerously quiet. "My entire life just imploded, and I'm being dramatic?" "Look," Marcus said, checking his phone again, and now Donna realized he was probably checking messages from Jessica. "I know this is hard, but we can handle this like adults. We'll call off the wedding. You can keep the ring, and we'll figure out the apartment situation. The casual way he discussed dismantling their life together was almost worse than the betrayal itself. 3 years reduced to logistics and real estate negotiations. What about Jessica? What's her excuse for sleeping with her best friend's fiancé? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. She said she talked to you herself. How generous of her. The waiter approached hesitantly, clearly sensing the tension. Marcus waved him away without looking up. There's one more thing, Marcus said, and Donna couldn't imagine what could possibly make this worse. The prenup. Donna had almost forgotten about the prenup. Marcus had insisted on it, claiming his lawyer required it for anyone in finance. She'd signed it without really reading it carefully, trusting that Marcus wouldn't try to cheat her. The irony wasn't lost on her now. What about it? Well, given the circumstances of our separation, you should probably review it with a lawyer. Something in his tone made Donna's skin crawl. Marcus, what did you do? I didn't do anything. It's just the prenup has some specific clauses about infidelity and breach of trust. Breach of trust? You're the one who cheated. Actually, Marcus said, his voice taking on the clinical tone he used for business negotiations, the prenup defines infidelity and breach of trust very specifically. And technically, you signed an agreement that if you engaged in behavior detrimental to the relationship or my career reputation. Donna stared at him in disbelief. Are you seriously trying to make this my fault? I'm not making it anyone's fault. I'm just saying you might want to read the fine print. For the first time in her adult life, Donna Martinez felt completely powerless. The successful marketing coordinator who'd negotiated million-dollar campaigns, who'd graduated summa cum laude from Northwestern, who'd built a life and career she was proud of, had just been outmaneuvered by a man she'd trusted her heart and her future with. But as she sat there, watching Marcus check his phone again, probably another text from Jessica, something inside her began to shift. The shock was giving way to something else. Something sharper, more focused. You know what, Marcus? She said, standing up again, this time with more control. You're right. I should read that prenup very carefully. Marcus was relieved. I think that's smart. I'm sure we can work something out that's fair for everyone. Donna picked up her purse, her hands steadier than she felt. Oh, I'm sure we can. As she walked away from the table, leaving Marcus with his cold osso buco and his guilty conscience, Donna Martinez realized that her perfect life hadn't just ended, it had been revealed as an illusion. But sometimes, she thought as she stepped out into the cool Chicago evening, illusions breaking can be the beginning of something real. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. The elevator ride to the 23rd floor of her building felt like ascending into another dimension. Donna's reflection in the polished steel doors showed a woman she barely recognized, makeup smudged, hair disheveled from running her fingers through it during the cab ride home, and eyes that looked like she'd aged 10 years in 2 hours. Her penthouse apartment, once a symbol of everything she'd achieved, now felt like a museum of lies. Marcus's things were everywhere. His Columbia MBA diploma on the bookshelf, his expensive cologne on the bathroom counter, his side of the closet filled with tailored suits that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Even worse were the wedding magazines scattered across the coffee table, sticky notes marking cake designs and flower arrangements for a future that no longer existed. Donna kicked off her heels and walked barefoot to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. The city sparkled below her, millions of lights representing millions of lives, and she wondered how many of those people were discovering their entire existence was built on quicksand. Her phone buzzed. Jessica. Donna, please call me back. I can explain everything. It's not what you think. The audacity was breathtaking. Donna deleted the message without listening to the other 7 voicemails Jessica had left. Her phone buzzed again, this time Marcus. We need to talk about practical matters. I'll be staying at the Drake Hotel for a few days while we figure things out. My lawyer will call you tomorrow about the apartment and other arrangements. Other arrangements. Like she was a business deal being dissolved. Donna poured herself a glass of wine.
Not the expensive stuff Marcus preferred, but the $20 bottle she kept hidden behind the fancy vintages. She'd started hiding small pleasures from Marcus months ago without even realizing it. The cheap wine, the romance novel she read when he wasn't around, the late-night phone calls with her sister Emma back in Phoenix. Why had she been hiding parts of herself from the man she was supposed to marry? The thought hit her like a physical blow. She sank onto the white leather couch, Marcus's choice, not hers, and finally allowed herself to cry. Not the pretty tears she'd seen in movies, but ugly, gut-wrenching sobs that made her entire body shake. Her phone rang. Emma. Hey, babe, how was the anniversary dinner? Did Marcus finally propose a wedding date, or is he still being weird about— He left me, Donna interrupted, her voice barely above a whisper. Silence. Then, what do you mean he left you? He's been cheating on me, with Jessica. He told me tonight at dinner. That fucking bastard, Emma said, and Donna could hear her sister's protective instincts kicking in from 2,000 miles away. I'm booking a flight right now. Emma, no, you have work and the kids. Donna Elizabeth Martinez, do not tell me not to come. My sister needs me. Hearing her full name, the name their mother used when she was in trouble, but also when she was proud, made Donna cry harder. I don't know what to do, Em. Everything I thought I knew about my life is wrong. First, you're going to burn every single thing that belongs to him. Then, you're going to call in sick tomorrow and drink wine while I fly out there and help you figure out how to destroy him legally. Despite everything, Donna almost smiled. Emma had always been the fighter, the one who stood up to schoolyard bullies and unfair teachers. At 32, she was a successful family law attorney in Phoenix with 2 kids and a husband who worshipped the ground she walked on. She never liked Marcus. You never trusted him, did you? He always felt performative to me, like he was playing a role instead of being himself. And he never laughed at your jokes, which should have been a red flag bigger than Texas. Donna thought about all the times Marcus had given her blank stares when she made what she thought were funny observations, or how he'd redirect conversations when she got excited about something he deemed unimportant. She'd started editing herself around him without even realizing it. There's something else, Donna said. The prenup. He made some comment about me needing to read the fine print, like maybe I violated it somehow. Oh, hell no, Emma said. Her voice went from sister protective to lawyer lethal in seconds. Send me a copy of that prenup right now. And I mean right now. Donna found the document in Marcus's home office, of course he'd kept the original, and emailed it to Emma. While she waited, she walked around the apartment, really looking at it for the first time in months. When had she stopped seeing it as home and started seeing it as a stage set? The art on the walls was all Marcus's choice, abstract pieces that were investment grade, but made her feel nothing. Her own paintings from college were relegated to the guest bedroom, along with her collection of vintage books and the colorful throw pillow she had loved. Even her coffee mug collection had been replaced by Marcus's minimalist white cups that looked like they belonged in a hotel. Her phone rang again. Emma. Donna, this prenup is insane. What do you mean? I mean, it's the most one-sided document I've ever seen, and I've seen some doozies. Did you have a lawyer look at this before you signed it?
Donna felt heat rise in her cheeks. Marcus said his lawyer wrote it fairly, and that I didn't need my own lawyer because he'd never try to cheat me. Oh, honey. Emma's voice was gentle but exasperated. This thing basically says that if the engagement ends for any reason other than his infidelity, and the way infidelity is defined here is incredibly narrow, you forfeit any claim to shared assets, including the apartment you've been paying half the mortgage on for 2 years. But he's the one who cheated! That's the brilliant part, Emma said, and Donna could hear papers rustling. The infidelity clause only applies to sexual relations with another party. Emotional affairs, which is what he'll claim this was until recently, don't count. Donna felt sick. So I lose everything? Not just that, there's more. If you engage in any behavior that could damage his professional reputation, and this is defined so broadly, it could include anything from talking badly about him on social media to dating someone he disapproves of, you owe him damages. Damages for what? Potential lost income due to reputational harm. Donna, this prenup basically makes you his property until you're married, and then gives him an escape clause that leaves you with nothing.
The room started spinning. Donna sat down hard on Marcus's pristine white couch, staining it with her tears and makeup. Good. There's one more thing, Emma continued. The way this is written, if you challenge any of its terms, you're responsible for his legal fees too. Donna laughed, but it was the sound of something breaking. So not only did he cheat on me, but he set it up so I'd be financially destroyed if I tried to fight back? That's exactly what he did. This prenup isn't about protecting assets, it's about control. The word hit Donna like a sledgehammer. Control. How had she missed it? The way Marcus chose her clothes, her food, her entertainment, the way he had gradually isolated her from friends he deemed too traumatic or not ambitious enough, the way he had convinced her to put his name on her investment accounts for tax purposes, the way he'd made her feel grateful for his attention instead of recognizing her own worth. Donna said slowly, I think I've been in an abusive relationship and didn't even know it. Emotional and financial abuse? Absolutely. The question is, what are you going to do about it? For the first time since leaving the restaurant, Donna felt something other than devastation. It started as a flutter in her chest, then grew to something stronger. Anger. Real, clean, focused anger. I'm going to fight, she said. That's my sister. But Donna, we need to be smart about this. If we go at this wrong, you could lose everything, your savings, your apartment, maybe even your job if he decides you're damaging his reputation. Donna walked back to the window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Marcus was probably celebrating his freedom at the Drake Hotel. Maybe Jessica was with him. Maybe they were laughing about how easy it had been to manipulate the naive girl from Naperville who was so grateful for his attention that she'd sign away her rights without reading the fine print. What if we find a way to make the prenup work for me instead of against me? Donna asked. What do you mean? You said the infidelity clause is narrowly defined. What if we could prove actual sexual infidelity, or what if there are other clauses in here that he's violated? Emma was quiet for a moment. I'd have to read this thing line by line, and we'd need evidence, real evidence, not just suspicions. Then that's what we'll do. Donna, this could get ugly and expensive. Are you sure you want to go to war with someone who clearly planned this betrayal for months? Donna thought about the woman she'd been 3 hours ago. Grateful, accommodating, always trying to be the perfect fiancé Marcus wanted her to be. That woman was gone. Burned away in the space between the appetizers and entrees at Romano's Italian restaurant. He made a mistake, Emma. What mistake? He assumed I was still the same pushover who signed his prenup without reading the fine print. That woman does not exist anymore. Donna caught her reflection in the window, mascara streaked, hair wild, wearing a dress chosen by a man who had betrayed her. But her eyes were different now, focused, determined. Besides, she continued, he taught me something important tonight. What's that? Sometimes the best revenge is giving someone exactly what they think they want. For the first time in hours, Donna smiled. It wasn't a happy smile, but it was real, and it was hers. I'm booking the first flight out tomorrow morning. We're going to destroy him legally, financially, and professionally, but we're going to do it so perfectly that he won't even see it coming. Emma? Yeah? Bring your best suit. We're going to war. As Donna hung up the phone, she felt the last pieces of her old life falling away. The grateful, accommodating woman who had tried so hard to be worthy of Marcus Sullivan's love was dead. In her place stood someone harder, smarter, and infinitely more dangerous. Someone who had nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. Someone who was about to discover that she was far more powerful than anyone, including herself, had ever imagined.
The next morning arrived with the merciless brightness of a Chicago autumn day. Donna woke up on the couch, still wearing her navy dress from the night before, surrounded by empty wine bottles and tear-stained tissues. Her phone showed 17 missed calls from Jessica and 4 from Marcus's lawyer, Richard Blackstone. The irony of the lawyer's name wasn't lost on her. Emma's flight wouldn't arrive until noon, which gave Donna time to do something she'd never done in 3 years of employment: call in sick when she wasn't actually ill. Her boss, Patricia Wong, was surprisingly understanding. Take all the time you need, Donna. The Miller Industries presentation isn't due until Friday. And honestly, you've been carrying this team for months. We can handle things for a few days. Donna realized this was the first time Patricia had ever acknowledged her contributions so directly.
How many other truths had she been too distracted by Marcus to notice? By 9 a.m., she was sitting in the downtown Chicago office of Catherine Rodriguez, the attorney Emma had recommended, a woman known for decimating cheating spouses and high-profile divorces. Rodriguez's office was nothing like the sterile, masculine spaces Marcus favored. It was warm, filled with plants and family photos, and somehow made Donna feel immediately safer. "Before we dive into the prenup," Rodriguez said, spreading the document across her mahogany desk, "I need you to understand something. What your fiancé did to you is a form of financial abuse called economic coercion. He used legal documents to control your behavior and limit your options." Donna nodded, still processing the idea that she'd been abused without even recognizing it. "Now, let's talk about this prenup," Rodriguez said, putting on reading glasses that made her look even more formidable. Emma wasn't exaggerating. This is one of the most predatory documents I've seen, and I've seen plenty. Rodriguez walked her through each section, translating the legal jargon into plain English. The apartment Donna had been paying half the mortgage on for 2 years, Marcus could claim full ownership. Her savings account that she'd moved into his preferred investment firm, he could freeze it pending resolution of disputes. Even her car, which she'd owned before they met, but had refinanced jointly for better rates, could be seized. "But here's the interesting part," Rodriguez said, pointing to a section near the end. "This prenup assumes you're a typical trophy wife with no assets or career. It doesn't account for someone with your level of professional success and financial acumen." "What do you mean?" "You've been paying for half of everything, right? Mortgage, utilities, groceries, even his car payment when he had that cash flow issue last year?" Donna nodded. She'd forgotten about the car payment situation. Marcus had been embarrassed about a temporary setback and had asked her to cover his BMW payment for 3 months. "Do you have records of these payments?" "Everything. I'm obsessive about tracking expenses. It's the marketing coordinator in me." Rodriguez smiled for the first time. "That obsessiveness might save you. Illinois is a no-fault state, but prenups can be challenged on several grounds. If we can prove he misrepresented his financial situation, or if he coerced you into signing it, or if the terms are so unconscionable that no reasonable person would agree to them, can we prove those things? That's what we need to figure out. Tell me about the day you signed this." Donna closed her eyes, remembering. It had been a Saturday morning 6 months ago. Marcus had woken her up with coffee and croissants from her favorite bakery, a rare gesture of thoughtfulness that made her feel special. He said his company required prenups for anyone in senior positions, that it was just a formality, but HR would give him problems if we didn't have one before the wedding. Did his company actually require this? I don't know. I trusted him." Rodriguez made a note. "We'll subpoena his employment records. If Goldman Sachs doesn't have a prenup requirement, that's misrepresentation. What else do you remember about that day?" "He said if I loved him, I'd sign it without making a big deal, that getting lawyers involved would be expensive and unnecessary and would delay the wedding planning." "Classic manipulation," Rodriguez muttered. "Anything else?" Donna thought harder. "He had already scheduled the notary to come to the apartment at noon. I remember feeling rushed, like I didn't have time to read it carefully." "Coercion. We can work with this." Rodriguez leaned back in her chair. "But Donna, I need to be honest with you. Challenging a prenup is expensive, time-consuming, and there's no guarantee. Even if we win, it could take years." "How expensive?" "My retainer alone is $25,000. If this goes to trial, you could be looking at 6 figures in legal fees." Donna felt her stomach drop. She had savings, but not enough to fund a war against someone with Marcus's resources. "What if I lose?" "Then you pay his legal fees too, plus damages. You could end up financially ruined for decades." The office fell silent, except for the ticking of Rodriguez's antique clock. Donna stared at the prenup, thinking about the woman who had signed it 6 months ago. Trusting, eager to please, grateful to be chosen by Marcus Sullivan. "What would you do?" Donna asked. "If you were me?" Rodriguez studied her for a long moment. "Honestly, most people in your situation take whatever settlement they can get and try to rebuild. It's safer." "But," Donna prompted, "but most people don't have your combination of intelligence, resources, and justifiable rage. And most people aren't facing someone who made the kind of mistakes Marcus made." "What mistakes?" He's been sloppy. This prenup is so one-sided it might violate public policy. He misrepresented facts to get you to sign it. And based on what Emma told me about the timeline, he was already planning this betrayal when he had you sign the document. So we can fight it?
We can try, but there's another approach we should consider. Rodriguez pulled out a different folder. What if, instead of just defending against the prenup, we go on offense? What do you mean? Your fiancé works in investment banking. That's a heavily regulated industry where reputation and ethics matter. If we can prove he engaged in fraudulent behavior, like misrepresenting facts to get you to sign a legal document, that could trigger professional consequences. Donna felt a spark of interest. What kind of consequences? FINRA investigations, ethics reviews, the kind of thing that ruins careers in finance. But don't I risk violating the prenup's reputation clause if I do anything that could hurt his career? Rodriguez's smile turned wolfish. Only if you're still bound by the prenup. But if the prenup itself was obtained through fraud, the implication hung in the air. Donna was beginning to understand that this wasn't just about money or assets. It was about power. Marcus had used his superior knowledge and resources to entrap her in a legal cage. But cages worked both ways. There's something else, Rodriguez continued. Emma mentioned that your best friend was involved in this affair. Jessica Chen. She's been my best friend since Northwestern. Tell me about her. She's a marketing director at Hoffman Associates. Actually, we're competitors. She makes about the same as me, drives a nice car, lives in a condo in Lincoln Park. Rodriguez made more notes. How long has she known Marcus? She introduced us. They met at some industry networking event 3 years ago. So she's known him as long as you have? Actually longer. She mentioned once that they'd run into each other a few times before she introduced us. Rodriguez looked up sharply. Did she ever mention being romantically interested in him? Donna thought back to college, to all the conversations about boys and relationships. Jessica always said she wanted someone successful and stable. Marcus definitely fits that description. I'm wondering if this affair started earlier than either of them is admitting. The thought hit Donna like ice water. You think she set us up? I think your friend Jessica might have wanted Marcus for herself from the beginning, and when she couldn't have him, she decided to wait for the right moment to steal him. Donna's mind raced through 3 years of memories. Jessica always being available when Marcus traveled for work, always asking detailed questions about the relationship, always finding reasons to visit when Marcus was home, the engagement party that Jessica had thrown where she seemed more excited than Donna, the wedding planning sessions where Jessica had gradually taken over more and more decisions. Oh my God, Donna whispered. She's been planning this from the beginning? That's my theory. And if I'm right, it means both of them have been lying to you for years, which could give us leverage we didn't have before. Rodriguez opened her laptop and pulled up what looked like a financial database. Here's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to have investigators look into both Marcus and Jessica's financial records, social media, and communication patterns. If this affair has been going on longer than they're claiming, there will be evidence. What kind of evidence? Hotel records, credit card statements, phone records, social media interactions? Cheaters always leave digital breadcrumbs. Donna felt something shifting inside her, the same feeling she got when a marketing campaign was coming together, when all the pieces started clicking into place. Second, Rodriguez continued, we're going to document every single financial contribution you have made to your relationship with Marcus. Every mortgage payment you made, every dinner you paid for, every time you covered his expenses. I have all of that. Good, because we're going to prove that this prenup doesn't reflect the actual financial reality of your relationship. And third? Third, we're going to make them an offer they can't refuse. What kind of offer? The kind where they give you everything you want in exchange for not destroying their careers, their reputations, and their futures. For the first time since walking out of Romano's restaurant, Donna felt something that might have been hope. Not the desperate hope of getting Marcus back. She was already past that. But the hope of justice, the hope of proving that she was not the naive victim they'd assumed her to be. When do we start? She asked. Rodriguez glanced at her watch. Your aunt's flight lands in an hour. I suggest you go pick her up, take the afternoon to process everything we've discussed, and meet me back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That's when we really start fighting. As Donna left the office, she felt like she was walking differently, straighter, more purposeful. The scared woman who had woken up on the couch that morning was still there,
But she was joined by someone else now. Someone who was learning that being underestimated could be the greatest weapon of all.
Emma's arrival at O'Hare was like watching a hurricane make landfall. At 5'2", with fierce brown eyes and an expression that could melt steel, she emerged from the terminal looking like she'd come to Chicago specifically to burn it down. The sisters embraced in the pickup area, and for the first time in 24 hours, Donna felt like she had an ally who was truly on her side. "Show me everything," Emma said, as they drove back toward downtown. "And I mean everything. Bank statements, emails, text messages, photos, receipts. I want to see the entire architecture of this relationship." Back at the penthouse, Emma worked with the systematic precision of someone who'd built a career destroying lying spouses. She spread documents across the dining room table like a general planning a military campaign, occasionally muttering things like, "What a fucking snake," and "Oh, this is beautiful," when she found something particularly useful. "Donna, look at this," Emma said, holding up a credit card statement from 8 months ago. "Marcus spent $1,200 at Tiffany & Co. on February 14th. Did he give you jewelry for Valentine's Day?" Donna shook her head. "He said Valentine's Day was a commercial holiday and that we should celebrate our love year-round instead of on arbitrary dates." "But he bought someone $1,200 worth of jewelry that day. Want to bet it wasn't for his mother?" The systematic nature of Marcus's deception was becoming clear. Every romantic gesture he'd denied Donna, every expense he'd claimed they couldn't afford, every sacrifice he'd asked her to make, it was all part of a careful plan to keep her grateful and compliant while he built a secret life with Jessica. Emma pulled out her laptop and started cross-referencing dates with social media posts. "Look at this. February 15th, Jessica posts a photo of herself wearing a new bracelet with the caption, 'Treating myself because I deserve it.' But if you zoom in on the background, that's not her apartment." Donna looked closer. The distinctive black marble countertops were unmistakable. "That's my kitchen. She's in my apartment. Which means Marcus gave her jewelry and then brought her to your home while you were at work." Emma's voice was clinical, but her eyes blazed with fury. "Donna, they've been flaunting this affair right under your nose for months." The evidence mounted throughout the afternoon. Hotel charges on days when Marcus claimed to be traveling alone for work, restaurant bills for two when he was supposedly in client dinners, even a recurring payment to a luxury car service that had been picking up Jessica from her office and dropping her at locations near Marcus's work. They got sloppy because they thought you were too trusting to notice. Classic narcissist mistake. They assume everyone else is as stupid as they need them to be. At 6 p.m., Catherine Rodriguez arrived at the apartment with a team that looked like they'd stepped out of a corporate espionage thriller. A forensic accountant, a private investigator, and a digital forensics expert who immediately began imaging Donna's laptop and phone to preserve evidence. "We found something interesting," Rodriguez announced, settling into what used to be Marcus's favorite chair. "Goldman Sachs confirmed that they have no company-wide prenup requirement. In fact, requiring prenups would violate several employment laws." "So he lied?" "Boldly and documentably. But it gets better." Rodriguez smiled grimly. "My investigator pulled Jessica's financial records. She's been making cash deposits that don't match her salary schedule. Large ones." "What do you mean?" "I mean, someone's been giving Jessica Chen money. A lot of money. And the timing corresponds perfectly with periods when Marcus received bonuses or closed major deals." Emma looked up from her laptop. "He's been paying her." "It looks that way, which raises an interesting question. Was this affair romantic, or was it transactional?" The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Donna felt like she was discovering that her entire life had been a performance, with everyone knowing their roles except her. "There's more," the private investigator said, opening a folder thick with photographs. "We've been tracking their movements for the past 72 hours. They're not acting like new lovers who just came clean about their feelings." He spread out surveillance photos of Marcus and Jessica at expensive restaurants, shopping together at boutiques Donna couldn't afford, entering what appeared to be a real estate office in Lincoln Park. "They're apartment hunting," Donna said, recognizing the distinctive red awning of Chicago's most exclusive rental agency. For a place that costs $8,000 a month, the investigator confirmed. Which is interesting because according to Jessica's tax returns, she makes $75,000 a year. Even combined with Marcus's salary, that's a stretch. Rodriguez leaned forward. Unless Marcus has assets he didn't disclose to you. Assets that should be considered marital property regardless of the prenup. The forensic accountant, a quiet woman named Sarah Kim, spoke up for the first time. I've been analyzing the financial documents Emma provided. Marcus has been systematically moving money into accounts and investments that aren't in his name. What kind of accounts? Shell companies, overseas investments, crypto wallets managed by third parties. It's sophisticated financial hiding, the kind that requires professional help. Are you saying he's been planning this divorce for years? I'm saying he's been planning something for years. The pattern of asset movement starts about 18 months ago, right around the time he proposed to you.
The engagement ring on Donna's finger suddenly felt like a shackle. Marcus hadn't proposed because he loved her. He'd proposed because he needed her locked into the prenup before she could discover what he was really doing. Emma stood up and started pacing, her lawyer instincts in full gear. Okay, let's think about this strategically. We have evidence of financial fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, possible money laundering, and conspiracy. That's enough to destroy him professionally and personally. But we need to be careful, Rodriguez warned. If Marcus realizes we're onto him, he could liquidate everything and disappear. Rich people with offshore accounts have a way of vanishing when the heat gets turned up. So what's our move? Donna asked. Rodriguez exchanged looks with Emma. We give them exactly what they think they want. I don't understand. Tomorrow, you're going to call Marcus. You're going to tell him you've seen a lawyer, that you understand the prenup, and that you're willing to settle quickly and quietly. You're going to act like the defeated, heartbroken woman they expect you to be. And then we let them think they've won while we build an airtight case. We document every asset, every lie, every piece of evidence that proves this entire relationship was a fraud from the beginning. Dr. Kim pulled out a thick binder. I've prepared a forensic timeline of every suspicious financial transaction going back 3 years. If we can get access to Marcus's actual records through discovery, we can trace exactly where every dollar went. How long will that take? Donna asked. 3 to 6 months if we do it right, Rodriguez said. But here's the beautiful part. While we're investigating, Marcus and Jessica will be living their dream life, spending money and making mistakes. The more secure they feel, the sloppier they'll get. Emma pulled up a new document on her laptop. I've been researching FINRA regulations. If Marcus has been hiding assets from his employer, that's a career-ending violation. Goldman Sachs takes compliance seriously. So we could get him fired? We could get him blacklisted from the entire finance industry, Emma confirmed. But timing is everything. We need to coordinate the financial investigation, the prenup challenge, and the professional complaint to hit all at once. Rodriguez nodded. Like a 3-pronged attack. By the time Marcus realizes what's happening, it'll be too late for him to protect himself. Donna looked around the room at these women who had spent their afternoon mapping out justice for someone they barely knew. Why are you all helping me like this? Because, Rodriguez said, what Marcus did to you is what powerful men have been doing to women for centuries. They use their resources, their knowledge, and their connections to keep us grateful for scraps while they take everything of value. And because, Emma added, you're my sister, and nobody hurts my sister. And because, Dr. Kim said quietly, I've seen too many women destroyed by men who thought they were smarter than everyone else. It's time one of them learned they were wrong. Donna felt something settling in her chest. Not the desperate anger of the past 2 days, but something cooler and more sustainable. Purpose. What do you need me to do? Rodriguez handed her a script. Tomorrow morning, you call Marcus. You play the role of grieving fiancé who just wants this to be over. You agree to whatever settlement he offers, but you ask for 2 weeks to get your affairs in order before you move out. 2 weeks? 2 weeks for us to copy every document in this apartment, image every device, and document every asset.
2 weeks for our investigators to trace the money trail and build profiles on both Marcus and Jessica. Emma pulled up a new document on her laptop. I'm extending my stay. My law firm has a reciprocal agreement with Rodriguez's practice, so I can assist as local counsel. You don't have to do that, Donna said. Yes, I do. Because this isn't just about getting you a fair settlement anymore. This is about making sure Marcus Sullivan never does this to another woman. Rodriguez gathered her papers. Get some sleep tonight, Donna. Tomorrow, the real work begins. As the team packed up their equipment and left, Donna and Emma sat in the suddenly quiet apartment. The dining room table was still covered with evidence of Marcus's betrayal, but somehow it no longer felt overwhelming. Are you ready for this? Emma asked. Because once we start down this path, there's no going back. We're going to destroy him completely. Donna thought about the woman she'd been a week ago. Grateful, accommodating, always trying to be worthy of Marcus's love. That woman was gone, replaced by someone harder and infinitely more dangerous. I'm not just ready, Donna said. I'm looking forward to it. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, Chicago sparkled in the darkness. Somewhere out there, Marcus and Jessica were probably celebrating their freedom, planning their future, confident that they'd successfully discarded the naive girl who'd been so easy to manipulate. They had no idea that the naive girl was gone, and in her place stood someone who was about to teach them that underestimating Donna Martinez had been the biggest mistake of their lives.
The phone call with Marcus was a masterclass in performance. Donna sat at her kitchen counter at exactly 9 a.m., with Emma coaching her through hand signals and Rodriguez listening on speakerphone from her office. She'd practiced her lines until they sounded natural, defeated but not bitter, resigned but not suspicious. "Marcus, it's me," she said when he answered, injecting just the right amount of exhaustion into her voice. "Donna, I was wondering when you'd call." His tone was carefully neutral, but she could hear relief underneath. He thought he'd won. "I met with a lawyer yesterday, about the prenup." She paused, letting him think she was struggling with the words. "I understand now. You planned this very carefully." "It wasn't personal, Donna. These things just happen sometimes." The casual cruelty of that statement made Emma's eyes flash with rage. But Donna kept her voice steady. "I know. I need some time to figure out where I'm going to live, how to separate our finances. Can I have 2 weeks before I move out?" 2 weeks seems reasonable, Marcus said, and she could hear him relaxing. "My lawyer will drop the settlement papers. You'll get to keep your personal items, of course, and I'll give you enough money to cover first month's rent somewhere." The condescension was breathtaking. He was offering her moving money like a severance package for a terminated employee. "Thank you," Donna said, hating herself for the words but knowing they were necessary. "That's generous. I want this to be as painless as possible for everyone involved." Everyone. Including Jessica, who was probably listening from wherever they'd spent the night. "There is one thing," Donna continued. "I've been getting calls from some of our vendors about the wedding. Should I just cancel everything, or do you want to handle some of it?" "Just cancel it all. Send me the bills for any cancellation fees." Even their wedding had become a business transaction to be liquidated. "Okay, I'll take care of it." Donna took a shaky breath that wasn't entirely fake. "Marcus, can I ask you something?" "Sure." How long has this really been going on?" A pause. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me." Another pause, longer this time. "A few months. It developed naturally." Liar. But now they had his official story on record. "I'll have my things packed by next Friday. Donna, for what it's worth, I hope you find someone who makes you happy. Someone more compatible." The line went dead. Emma immediately started cursing in both English and Spanish, but Donna felt strangely calm. Marcus had just given them exactly what they needed, his overconfidence. Within an hour, Rodriguez's team was back in the apartment, moving with the efficiency of professionals who'd done this before. Dr. Kim set up a mobile forensic station in the guest bedroom, while the private investigator began photographing every document in Marcus's home office.
He's already made his first mistake, Rodriguez announced, reviewing the recorded phone call. He confirmed the timeline as a few months, but we have evidence going back at least 8 months. When we present proof of the earlier timeline, it proves he's willing to lie under oath. Emma was working on her laptop, cross-referencing dates with social media posts. I found something else. Look at this Facebook post from Jessica, dated 6 months ago. The post was a group photo from what appeared to be a company retreat with Jessica and several colleagues at a resort in Wisconsin. But in the background, barely visible, was a man who looked suspiciously like Marcus. "That's definitely him," Donna said, zooming in. "But Marcus told me he was visiting his mother in Boston that weekend. So we have photographic evidence placing them together 6 months ago when he claims the affair only started a few months ago," Rodriguez said with satisfaction. "Dr. Kim, what did you find in his financial records?" The forensic accountant looked up from her laptop, surrounded by printouts and calculators. "It's worse than we thought. Marcus has been systematically draining joint accounts and moving the money into investments that only he can access. But here's the interesting part. He's been doing it in a pattern that suggests he had professional advice." "What kind of pattern?" "The transactions are structured to avoid triggering banking alerts, spread across multiple institutions, and timed to coincide with natural fluctuations in their shared expenses. This isn't amateur hour. Someone taught him how to do this." Rodriguez frowned. "Someone like his lawyer, Richard Blackstone?" "That would be my guess. And if Blackstone advised Marcus on how to hide assets while engaged to Donna, that's legal malpractice and possibly criminal fraud." Emma looked up from her computer. "I've been researching Blackstone. He's had 3 ethics complaints filed against him in the past 5 years, all related to questionable advice in divorce cases. So Marcus chose a dirty lawyer to help him steal from his fiancée. That's actually perfect for us." "Why?" Rodriguez asked. "Because dirty lawyers keep records of their dirty work. If we can prove Blackstone advised Marcus on asset hiding, we can get both of them disbarred and criminally prosecuted." The private investigator returned from Marcus's office carrying a banker's box full of documents. "You're going to want to see this," he said, setting the box on the dining room table. Inside were files that told the story of Marcus's deception in meticulous detail. Correspondence with offshore banking services, investment portfolios Donna had never heard of, and most damning of all, a handwritten notebook documenting payments to Jessica over the past year. He kept a ledger. He actually kept a written record of paying off his accomplice. The entries were clinical. JC, $2,500, March consulting fee, and JC, $5,000, April bonus for project completion. But the dates corresponded perfectly with Marcus's work bonuses and the cash deposits in Jessica's account. "This is beautiful," Rodriguez said, photographing each page. Marcus documented his own conspiracy. No jury in the world would believe these were legitimate business expenses. Dr. Kim held up another document. "And here's proof that he's been planning the asset transfer for over a year. This email to an offshore investment firm is dated 14 months ago, 2 months before he proposed to Donna."
So he proposed to lock me into the prenup while he was already planning to steal everything and leave, Donna said. "That's exactly what he did, and now we can prove it." The team worked through the afternoon, building a case that was becoming more airtight by the hour. Every document they found revealed new layers of fraud, new evidence of premeditation, new proof that Marcus and Jessica had been systematically stealing from Donna while planning her emotional and financial destruction. At 4 p.m., Rodriguez's phone rang. She answered, listened for a moment, then smiled with predatory satisfaction. "That was my contact at Goldman Sachs," she announced. "Marcus Sullivan has been under internal investigation for the past 3 months." "For what?" Donna asked. "Suspicious trading patterns that suggest he's been using inside information. The investigation was quiet because they were hoping to handle it internally, but now they're escalating to FINRA." "What does that mean?" "It means Marcus is about to be fired, investigated, and potentially criminally prosecuted for securities fraud. His career in finance is over."
Emma looked up from the ledger she'd been analyzing. "And I found the smoking gun for Jessica." She held up a page from Marcus's notebook dated 8 months ago. The entry read, "JC $10,000 setup fee for DM elimination project." Elimination project? Donna read the words aloud, feeling sick. "They had a code name for destroying you," Emma said, her voice shaking with rage. "This wasn't just an affair or even a financial scheme. This was a deliberate plan to eliminate you from Marcus's life while stealing everything you'd worked for." The room fell silent as the full scope of the conspiracy became clear. This wasn't about love or passion or even greed. It was about power, the power to destroy someone's life for sport. Rodriguez stood up, her expression grim. "I've been practicing family law for 20 years, and I've never seen anything this calculating. Marcus and Jessica didn't just betray you, Donna. They planned your destruction like a military operation." "So what do we do now?" Donna asked. "Now we destroy them back, but we do it legally, systematically, and so thoroughly that they never recover." Dr. Kim opened a new file on her laptop. "I've calculated the total value of assets Marcus has hidden or stolen, including appreciation and lost opportunity costs. You're looking at approximately $2.3 million. "I don't have that much money," Donna said. "You do now, because all of those assets are legally yours under Illinois marital property law. The prenup is void due to fraud, which means everything Marcus thought he was stealing actually belongs to you." Emma started laughing, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Do you realize what this means? Marcus spent a year planning to steal your money, and instead, he accidentally stole his own money and gave it to you." "But we still have to prove it in court," Rodriguez warned, "and we still have to make sure he can't liquidate and run before we can freeze the assets. How do we do that?" Rodriguez smiled. "We spring the trap. Tomorrow morning, you're going to call Marcus and tell him you're ready to sign the settlement papers. You're going to meet him at his lawyer's office, and you're going to act like the defeated woman he expects. And then, while he's sitting there gloating over the papers he thinks are making him rich, I'm going to walk in with a team of federal marshals, a FINRA investigator, and enough evidence to put both him and Jessica in prison." Donna felt something shifting inside her, not just anger anymore, but something colder and more satisfying. Justice. "When?" she asked. "Friday afternoon, right after the markets close so he can't make any last-minute transactions." "What about Jessica?" Emma's smile was sharp as a blade. "Jessica gets her own surprise. Turns out accepting money to help defraud someone is a federal crime. She'll be arrested at her office at exactly the same time Marcus gets arrested at his lawyer's office." For the first time in a week, Donna smiled genuinely. "They have no idea what's coming, do they?" "None at all," Rodriguez confirmed. "They think they're the predators in this story. They're about to learn they were wrong."
Friday afternoon arrived with unseasonable warmth for October in Chicago. Donna stood in front of her bathroom mirror, applying makeup with hands that were steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Today, she would face Marcus for what she hoped would be the last time, and everything depended on her ability to maintain the performance of a lifetime. She'd chosen her outfit carefully, a simple black dress that made her look appropriately subdued, minimal jewelry and flats instead of heels to appear smaller and less threatening. The goal was to look like a woman who'd been thoroughly defeated, ready to accept whatever scraps Marcus was willing to throw her. Emma knocked on the bathroom door. "The team is in position." Rodriguez and the federal marshals are in the building across from Blackstone's office. Dr. Kim is with the FINRA investigators at Goldman Sachs. Everyone's synchronized for exactly 3:15 p.m. Donna checked her watch. 2:45 p.m. In 30 minutes, Marcus Sullivan's world would implode. "Any word from the team watching Jessica?" Donna asked. She's still at her office, completely oblivious. She posted a selfie on Instagram 20 minutes ago with the caption, "Friday vibes, can't wait for the weekend." Emma's smile was razor sharp.
She's about to have a very different kind of weekend. They drove to Blackstone's office in silence, both sisters lost in their own thoughts. The past week had been a whirlwind of legal preparation, evidence gathering, and careful coordination with law enforcement. What had started as a simple divorce case had exploded into a federal investigation involving securities fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, and racketeering. The law offices of Blackstone and Associates occupied the 32nd floor of a gleaming downtown tower. As Donna stepped off the elevator, she felt like she was entering the lion's den, except this time, she was the one with the teeth. Marcus was already there, looking relaxed and confident in his expensive suit. He stood when she entered, offering what probably passed for a sympathetic smile. "Donna, you look well." His tone was perfectly calibrated to sound caring while actually being condescending. "Thank you," she replied quietly, keeping her eyes downcast. "I just want to get this over with." Richard Blackstone emerged from his inner office, a silver-haired man with the kind of aggressive handsomeness that probably intimidated opposing counsel. He shook Donna's hand with practiced sympathy. "Miss Martinez, I want you to know that Mr. Sullivan has been very generous in these settlement terms. Very generous indeed." The settlement documents were spread across the conference table like a funeral arrangement. Donna forced herself to read through them slowly, occasionally asking clarifying questions in a voice that trembled just enough to sound authentic. The terms were, as predicted, Marcus would keep the apartment, all joint investments, his hidden offshore accounts, and even Donna's car. In exchange, she would receive $15,000, barely enough for a security deposit on a studio apartment, and would agree never to disparage Marcus publicly or interfere with his career or business interests. "The non-disparagement clause is quite comprehensive," Blackstone explained with obvious satisfaction. "It covers social media, professional networks, and any communication that could potentially harm Mr. Sullivan's reputation or business interests." "I understand," Donna said meekly. "I just want to move on with my life." Marcus leaned back in his chair, radiating satisfaction. "I think this is best for everyone. Clean break, no hard feelings." "There is one small thing," Donna said, playing her final card. "Some of my friends have been asking questions about why we broke up. What should I tell them?" Marcus and Blackstone exchanged glances. "Just tell them it was mutual," Marcus said. "That we grew apart." "What about Jessica? She's been calling me constantly, wanting to explain everything. Should I talk to her?" "Jessica feels terrible about everything. She never meant for this to happen. Maybe it would be good for you both to have closure." The gaslighting was masterful. Even while stealing everything from her, Marcus was positioning himself and Jessica as the victims who felt terrible about their choices. Donna picked up the pen. "Where do I sign?" "Each page needs to be initialed, and then your signature on the final page," Blackstone instructed. As Donna began initialing the documents, Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled. "Jessica's asking if we want to meet for dinner tonight to celebrate. I mean, to mark the end of this chapter." "That sounds nice," Donna said, signing her name with a flourish. Blackstone gathered the papers with obvious satisfaction. "Excellent. Mr. Sullivan, I'll file these with the court on Monday morning. Miss Martinez, you should receive your settlement check within 5 business days." "Actually," a new voice said from the doorway. Catherine Rodriguez stepped into the conference room, followed by 2 federal marshals and a man in a navy suit who looked like he'd been born to ruin people's days. Marcus's face went white. "What the hell is this?"
Marcus Sullivan, you're under arrest for securities fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and money laundering, the federal agent announced, pulling out handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent." "This is insane!" Marcus jumped to his feet, knocking over his chair. "Donna, what did you do?" "What I should have done a long time ago," Donna replied, dropping the defeated act completely. Her voice was steady and cold. "I fought back." Blackstone was frantically shuffling papers, his face flushed with panic. "Agent Morrison, I'm sure there's been some misunderstanding." "Richard Blackstone, you're also under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and professional malpractice," a second agent said, stepping forward.
Turns out advising clients on how to hide assets while engaged is frowned upon by the Bar Association. Rodriguez set a thick folder on the conference table. We have everything, Marcus. Bank records, email communications, your handwritten ledger documenting payments to Jessica Chen, evidence of your DM elimination project, and recordings of you lying about the timeline of your affair. You recorded me? Marcus's voice cracked with disbelief. Illinois is a one-party consent state, Donna said with satisfaction. Every phone conversation we've had this week has been recorded and analyzed by federal investigators. The federal agent finished reading Marcus's rights and began cuffing him. We also have evidence from Goldman Sachs showing a pattern of insider trading dating back 18 months. Your career in finance is over, Mr. Sullivan. Marcus looked around the room desperately, as if searching for an escape route. Donna, please, we can work this out. I'll give you whatever you want. I don't want anything from you anymore, Marcus. I want justice. Rodriguez opened the folder and began reading from a document. As of this moment, all assets fraudulently obtained by Marcus Sullivan are frozen pending investigation. This includes offshore accounts, shell company investments, cryptocurrency holdings, and the penthouse apartment at Lakeshore Drive. That's my apartment, Marcus shouted as the marshals led him toward the door. Actually, Rodriguez continued with visible satisfaction, since the prenup was obtained through fraud and misrepresentation, it's void. Under Illinois marital property law, all assets acquired during your engagement belong jointly to you and Miss Martinez. Since you attempted to steal them, they now belong entirely to her. The color drained from Marcus's face as the full scope of his situation became clear. He'd spent over a year carefully planning to steal Donna's future, and instead he'd systematically transferred his own wealth into accounts that now legally belonged to her. This isn't over, he snarled as the marshals reached the doorway. Oh, but it is, Emma said, speaking for the first time since entering the room. Because while you're being arrested, Jessica Chen is being arrested at her office for conspiracy to commit fraud. Your little partnership is finished. As Marcus was led away in handcuffs, Rodriguez turned to Donna. How do you feel? Donna thought about the question seriously. A week ago, she'd been a woman grateful for whatever love Marcus was willing to give her, afraid to ask for what she deserved, constantly trying to be worthy of his attention. That woman was gone. I feel like myself again, she said finally. Rodriguez's phone buzzed. She answered, listened for a moment, then smiled. Jessica Chen has been arrested. She immediately asked for a lawyer and tried to claim she was an innocent victim of Marcus's manipulation. Will that work? Donna asked. Hard to sell that story when we have Marcus's ledger showing payments totaling over $200,000, plus evidence that she helped plan the elimination project. Rodriguez shook her head. Jessica's looking at 5 to 10 years in federal prison. Emma hugged her sister tightly. It's over, Donna. You won. But Donna wasn't thinking about winning or losing anymore. She was thinking about the woman she'd discovered herself to be over the past week. Someone who could build alliances, gather evidence, coordinate complex legal strategies, and outmaneuver opponents who thought they were smarter than her. No, she said quietly. This isn't about winning. This is about justice. As they left Blackstone's office, Donna felt like she was walking into a completely different life. The penthouse apartment was legally hers now, along with assets worth over $2 million. But more importantly, she discovered that she was capable of far more than she'd ever imagined. Her phone buzzed with a text from Patricia Wong. Saw the news about Marcus on the financial networks. Are you okay? Also, the Miller Industries campaign you designed just won 3 industry awards. We need to talk about your promotion. Donna showed the text to Emma, who grinned. Looks like your career is about to get very interesting. Everything's about to get interesting, Donna replied. As they walked toward the elevator, Donna caught her reflection in the polished marble walls. She looked like a different person than the woman who'd walked into Romano's restaurant a week ago. Stronger, more confident, more dangerous. Marcus and Jessica had made one crucial mistake. They'd assumed that destroying Donna would be easy because she'd never fought back before. They hadn't considered that she'd never had a reason to fight back before. Now she did. And now they knew what Donna Martinez was capable of when she stopped trying to be worthy of love and started demanding the respect she deserved. The elevator doors closed, taking her away from the wreckage of Marcus's life and toward whatever came next. For the first time in years, Donna had no idea what that would be. But she was looking forward to finding out.
3 weeks after Marcus's arrest, Donna sat in Rodriguez's office, staring at documents that made her stomach churn. The initial euphoria of victory had been replaced by a harsh reality she hadn't anticipated. Winning the legal battle was only the beginning of a much longer war. "I don't understand," Donna said, her voice tight with frustration. "We proved everything. Marcus is in federal custody, Jessica's been charged, the prenup is void. How is this happening?" Rodriguez rubbed her temples, looking older than her 53 years. "Marcus's family has resources we didn't fully account for. His father, William Sullivan, owns half of Chicago's commercial real estate. They've hired Kellerman, Price and Associates." Emma looked up from her laptop, where she'd been frantically researching case law. "That's the firm that got the governor's son acquitted of embezzlement last year. They don't lose." "What exactly are they claiming?" Donna asked. "Mental duress," Rodriguez said grimly. "They're arguing that Marcus has suffered a psychological breakdown due to work stress and prescription medication interactions. They're painting him as a victim of pharmaceutical side effects who wasn't responsible for his actions." Donna felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. "They're saying he was insane when he planned my destruction for over a year?" "Not insane. Chemically impaired and suffering from acute stress-induced psychosis. They have 3 psychiatrists willing to testify that Marcus's behavior was inconsistent with his character and likely caused by a perfect storm of work pressure and medication." "What about Jessica?" "She's cooperating with prosecutors and testifying against Marcus. Claims she was also a victim of his manipulation and thought she was helping him through a mental health crisis." Emma slammed her laptop shut. "That's ridiculous. We have evidence they planned this together for months." "But juries are sympathetic to mental health defenses, especially when the defendant comes from a prominent family and has no prior criminal record," Rodriguez explained. "Kellerman is good at what they do." Dr. Kim entered the office carrying a thick folder, her usually composed demeanor showing cracks of stress. "I have updates from the asset recovery investigation. It's not good news." She spread financial documents across the conference table with the precision of someone delivering a terminal diagnosis. Marcus's family moved quickly after his arrest. They've claimed that most of the hidden assets were actually family money that Marcus was managing on behalf of Sullivan Properties. "How is that possible?" Donna asked. "They're arguing that the offshore accounts and shell companies were legitimate business structures for the family's international real estate investments. Marcus was listed as the manager, but the beneficial ownership belongs to his father's corporation." Rodriguez studied the documents with growing alarm. "Can they prove that?" "They have corporate paperwork dating back 2 years showing Marcus as an authorized agent for Sullivan Properties. The signatures look legitimate and the business purposes seem plausible." Donna felt the room spinning. "So the money I thought I was getting back may not have been yours to begin with," Dr. Kim confirmed quietly. "If the courts determine these were legitimate business assets that Marcus misappropriated from his family's company, you could end up owing them restitution." "How much restitution?" "Approximately $1.8 million, plus interest and penalties." The number hit Donna like a physical blow. Not only would she lose everything she'd fought for, but she'd end up financially destroyed beyond anything Marcus could have achieved with his original prenup. Emma stood up and started pacing, her lawyer instincts in crisis mode. "Wait, this doesn't make sense. If these were family business assets, why didn't William Sullivan report them as stolen when Marcus first moved the money?" "Because," Rodriguez said slowly, realization dawning on her face,
The family assets weren't family assets until Marcus got arrested. The Sullivans are retroactively claiming ownership to protect the money from asset forfeiture. Can they do that? If they have the right documentation and expert witnesses, they might be able to convince a judge. Family money is treated differently than personal assets in federal court. Dr. Kim pulled out another document. There's more. Goldman Sachs has suspended their investigation pending the criminal trial. They're claiming they can't make employment decisions based on unresolved criminal charges. So Marcus keeps his job? Marcus is on paid administrative leave. If he's acquitted or the charges are reduced, he could return to work with full back pay and benefits. Donna felt like she was drowning. Every victory from the past month was being systematically dismantled by lawyers who were better, more experienced, and infinitely better funded than her team. What about the conspiracy charges against Jessica? She's negotiating a plea deal. Cooperation against Marcus in exchange for probation and community service. Her lawyer is claiming she was emotionally manipulated by an older, more sophisticated financial professional. She's 4 months older than Marcus, but she's presenting herself as naive and vulnerable. The narrative is that Marcus exploited her trust and friendship to involve him in his schemes. Emma sat back down heavily. So let me get this straight. Marcus claims he was mentally ill and not responsible for his actions. Jessica claims she was manipulated and is cooperating with prosecutors. The family claims all the money was theirs anyway, and we're left holding the bag for $1.8 million we never actually had? That's a possible outcome. Yes. The silence in the room was deafening. Donna thought about the past 3 weeks. The media attention, the congratulations from friends, the sense that justice had finally been served. All of it was evaporating like morning mist. There's one more thing, Rodriguez said reluctantly. The Sullivans have filed a civil suit against you for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. For what? They claim that your false accusations against Marcus have damaged his reputation and caused severe psychological harm to their family. They're seeking $5 million in damages. Donna laughed, but it was the sound of something breaking. So I go from being engaged to a man I thought loved me, to discovering he was planning to destroy me, to thinking I'd gotten justice, to facing financial ruin, and a lawsuit for defending myself?
The legal system isn't always about justice, Rodriguez said quietly. Sometimes it's about who has the better lawyers and deeper pockets. Emma's phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and frowned. It's Patricia Wong, Donna's boss. Donna's heart sank. She'd been dreading this call ever since the Sullivan family's counterattack began making headlines in the financial press. Put it on speaker, Donna said. Donna? Patricia's voice was carefully neutral. We need to talk. Can you come in Monday morning? Is this about the Sullivan situation? A pause. The Miller Industries account has expressed concerns about the media attention surrounding their campaign manager. They're requesting a meeting to discuss transition options. They're firing me. We need to discuss your options. Monday morning, 9 a.m. The line went dead. Donna stared at the phone, feeling the last pillar of her stability crumbling. I'm going to lose my job, she said numbly. The Sullivans are going to destroy my career to pressure me into dropping the charges. Rodriguez nodded grimly. It's a common tactic. They isolate you financially and professionally until fighting becomes impossible. What are my options? We can fight, but it'll cost everything you have and more. Or, Rodriguez paused, clearly struggling with what she was about to say, or what? Or you can walk away. Drop all claims, accept a small settlement to avoid the defamation suit, and try to rebuild your life quietly. How small? $50,000 and a mutual non-disclosure agreement. $50,000? After everything Marcus did to her? After all the evidence we found? It's enough to prevent financial ruin, Rodriguez said. Sometimes survival is more important than justice.
Donna thought about the woman she'd been a month ago. Successful, confident, planning a wedding to a man she thought loved her. Then she thought about the woman she'd become, someone who could orchestrate complex legal strategies and outmaneuver sophisticated criminals. Now she was being asked to become someone entirely else, a victim who walked away quietly in exchange for enough money to start over with nothing. How long do I have to decide? The Sullivans want an answer by Friday. If you refuse their offer, they'll assume you're rejecting their offer and they'll destroy you systematically and completely. They have the resources to tie you up in litigation for years while bankrupting you in the process. Donna felt something cold settling in her chest. Not defeat, exactly, but a clarity she hadn't expected. She'd spent the past month learning that she was capable of far more than she'd ever imagined. Now she was learning that sometimes being capable wasn't enough. I'll let you know by Thursday. As Donna and Emma left the office, Emma grabbed her sister's arm. You're not seriously considering taking their offer, are you? I don't know what I'm considering anymore. Donna, you can't let them win. Not after everything we've discovered, everything we've proven. Maybe proving it isn't enough. Maybe Rodriguez is right, and sometimes survival is more important than justice. They walked to the parking garage in silence, both sisters lost in their own thoughts. As they reached Emma's rental car, Donna's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I know who really owns the Sullivan money. If you want the truth, meet me at Millennium Park tomorrow at noon. Come alone. A friend. Donna showed the text to Emma, whose expression immediately shifted from despair to suspicion. This could be a trap, Emma warned. Or it could be the break we need. Donna, you're talking like someone who's given up hope and grasping at straws. Donna looked at her sister. Brilliant, successful Emma who'd flown across the country to help her fight a battle that was slowly destroying them both. Maybe I am grasping at straws, but right now, straws are all I have left.
Millennium Park at noon was bustling with tourists and office workers on lunch breaks. Donna sat on a bench near Cloud Gate, watching families take photos while her heart hammered against her ribs. The mysterious text had kept her awake all night, cycling between hope and paranoia. A woman approached, mid-50s, impeccably dressed in a Chanel suit, with silver hair pulled back in an elegant chignon. She looked like she belonged on the board of directors of a Fortune 500 company. Miss Martinez, I'm Helen Thornton. The name hit Donna like lightning. Helen Thornton was William Sullivan's former business partner, a real estate mogul who'd built half of downtown Chicago before mysteriously disappearing from the business world 5 years ago. You're the friend who texted me? Helen sat down beside her, maintaining the careful distance of someone accustomed to corporate intrigue. I've been following your case. What the Sullivans are doing to you is unconscionable, but unfortunately typical. Why do you want to help me? Helen's smile was sharp as winter. Because William Sullivan destroyed my life 5 years ago using the same tactics he's using on you now. Fraudulent asset transfers, retroactive documentation, character assassination. It's his playbook. What happened to you? I discovered that William had been using our partnership to launder money from some very questionable sources. When I threatened to expose him, he claimed I was the one laundering money and had our joint assets seized as evidence. By the time I proved my innocence, I'd lost everything and my reputation was ruined. Donna felt a chill that had nothing to do with the October breeze. So, the money Marcus stole isn't family money. It's the proceeds from illegal activities that William has been hiding for years. Marcus stumbled onto it when he started working for his father's company, and William let him use it because he thought his son was smarter than he actually is. Helen opened an elegant leather briefcase and withdrew a thick folder. I've spent 5 years gathering evidence of William's real business: money laundering for organized crime, tax evasion, bribery of city officials, enough to put him away for life. Why didn't you go to the authorities? I tried, but William has federal judges, prosecutors, and FBI agents on his payroll. My evidence disappeared, witnesses recanted, and I was threatened with prosecution for making false accusations. So, what's different now? Helen's smile turned predatory.
Now, William has made a fatal mistake. By claiming the hidden assets belong to Sullivan Properties, he's officially connected his legitimate business to his criminal enterprise. Every transaction Marcus made can now be traced back to William's illegal activities. She handed Donna a USB drive. This contains financial records, recorded conversations, and photographic evidence documenting 20 years of criminal activity. It's enough to trigger a federal RICO investigation that will destroy the entire Sullivan empire. Donna stared at the small device that could change everything. What do you want in return? Justice for both of us. How do I know this is real? Helen pulled out her phone and played an audio recording. William Sullivan's voice was unmistakable. The Martinez girl is becoming a problem. Make sure she understands that fighting our family will cost her everything she has and more. He's ordering them to destroy me personally. William Sullivan has been destroying people for decades. You're just the latest in a long line of victims, but you're also the first one with the evidence to fight back effectively. Donna thought about the past month, the triumph of uncovering Marcus's betrayal, the devastation of watching her victory slip away, the crushing realization that the system was rigged against people like her. If I do this, what happens to Marcus and Jessica? Marcus goes to federal prison for conspiracy and money laundering. Jessica serves serious time as an accomplice. William Sullivan dies in prison. The entire Sullivan empire crumbles. And me? You get your life back, plus the reward money. What reward money? Helen's smile widened. The FBI has been investigating the Sullivan organization for years without success. This evidence is worth a $50 million whistleblower reward under federal racketeering statutes. The number was so large, Donna couldn't process it. $50 million. More money than she could spend in several lifetimes. There's just one catch, Helen continued. Once you turn this over to the FBI, there's no going back. William Sullivan will use every resource he has to destroy you before the investigation concludes. You'll need federal protection, and your life will never be the same. Donna thought about the woman she'd been 6 months ago, grateful for Marcus's attention, willing to sign away her rights without reading the fine print, afraid to ask for what she deserved. That woman would have been terrified of taking on one of Chicago's most powerful families. But that woman was gone. How do we do this? Helen stood up, her bearing commanding and confident. We walk into the federal building together and hand this evidence to the FBI's Organized Crime Task Force. But first, we spring one final trap. What kind of trap? Tomorrow morning, you're going to call Rodriguez and accept the Sullivan's settlement offer. You're going to sound defeated, broken, ready to walk away for $50,000.
Why? Because while you're signing those papers, FBI agents will be executing search warrants on every Sullivan property in the city. By the time William realizes he's been played, his entire criminal enterprise will be in federal custody. Helen handed Donna a business card with just a phone number. Call me when you're ready. But Donna, make sure you're really ready. Once we do this, there's no safe middle ground. We either destroy them completely or they destroy us. As Helen walked away, Donna sat alone with the USB drive that contained enough evidence to bring down a criminal empire. She thought about Marcus, probably confident that his family's money and influence would save him. She thought about Jessica, reinventing herself as a victim while betraying everyone she'd claimed to love. Most of all, she thought about William Sullivan, a man who'd spent decades destroying innocent people for profit and power, assuming that his latest victim would be just as easy to crush as all the others. Her phone buzzed. Emma. How did it go? Was it a trap? It was the opposite of a trap. It was a nuclear weapon. Donna spent the next hour explaining everything to Emma, Rodriguez, and Dr. Kim. The conference room at Rodriguez's office felt different now, not like a place where they were fighting a losing battle, but like a war room where they were planning the complete annihilation of their enemies. This is beautiful, Rodriguez said, reviewing Helen's evidence.
William Sullivan thought he was protecting his assets by claiming them as family money. Instead, he just provided the missing link between his legitimate business and his criminal activities. Dr. Kim was analyzing the transaction records on her laptop. These transaction records show patterns consistent with large-scale money laundering. If this evidence is authentic, the entire Sullivan organization is going down. Emma looked up from the legal documents. And the beauty is that Marcus and Jessica think they're winning. They have no idea that their victory is about to become their total destruction. "What about the defamation lawsuit?" Donna asked. "It becomes evidence of witness intimidation in a federal racketeering case. Instead of being defendants, we become protected witnesses in a federal investigation." Donna felt something settling in her chest that she hadn't experienced in weeks. Certainty. Not hope, which could be disappointed, but absolute certainty that justice was finally within reach. Let's do it. The next morning, Donna called Rodriguez and delivered her Oscar-worthy performance of defeat. Her voice trembled convincingly as she accepted the Sullivan family settlement offer, agreeing to drop all charges and sign a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for $50,000. At the same time, federal agents were surrounding Sullivan Properties offices across Chicago. William Sullivan was arrested while meeting with his lawyer to discuss expanding the defamation lawsuit against Donna. Marcus was taken into custody in his jail cell when new federal charges were filed. Jessica was arrested at her apartment, still in her pajamas, clutching the immunity agreement she thought would save her. By noon, the entire Sullivan criminal enterprise was in federal custody, and Donna Martinez was under FBI protection as the key witness in the biggest organized crime case in Chicago's history. 6 months later, Donna stood in her penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, not the one she'd shared with Marcus, but a larger, more beautiful space that she'd bought with her own money. The $50 million whistleblower reward had been officially awarded after William Sullivan's conviction on 47 federal charges. Marcus received 25 years in federal prison. Jessica got 12 years as a cooperating witness. William Sullivan would die behind bars. His entire business empire was liquidated to pay restitution to decades of victims. Donna's marketing agency, the one she'd started with her reward money, occupied 3 floors of a downtown skyscraper and employed 47 people, including several other women who'd been victims of powerful men's schemes. Emma had moved to Chicago permanently to run the legal division of Donna's new company. Rodriguez joined as general counsel. Dr. Kim headed the forensic accounting department that helped other women uncover financial abuse. As Donna watched the sunset paint Lake Michigan in shades of gold and crimson, she thought about the woman she'd been before Marcus Sullivan tried to destroy her. That woman had been successful but grateful, accomplished but accommodating, always trying to be worthy of other people's approval. She'd lost that woman forever the night Marcus announced his betrayal at Romano's restaurant. In her place stood someone harder, smarter, and infinitely more dangerous, someone who'd learned that justice wasn't something you asked for politely, but something you took with overwhelming force. Her phone buzzed with a text from Helen Thornton. "Saw the news about your company's expansion. Proud of you. Destroy them all. H." Donna smiled and typed back, "Already on it." Because Donna Martinez had learned the most important lesson of her life. When powerful people try to destroy you, don't just survive, thrive. Build an empire of your own, and make sure they never forget the cost of underestimating you. Outside her windows, Chicago sparkled with infinite possibility, and Donna Martinez, survivor, entrepreneur, and architect of justice, was just getting started.
Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hits the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.